Well, when you're Donald Trump and you hire MAGA lawyers from New York and Florida to file a Texas lawsuit in order to forum shop to make sure that your case for some sort of consumer fraud against CBS News, because you don't like the Kamala Harris 60 Minutes interview that she gave, when you use lawyers who don't practice regularly in a state, they may miss that there's a statute in that state that will award attorney's fees and costs as a sanction to CBS. It's called the anti-SLAAP statute, and I think Donald Trump is going to get slapped with attorney's fees and costs. I break it all down for you. I'm Michael Popok. This is Legal AF and the MeidasTouch Network. So let's talk about how Donald Trump's going to get slapped because Texas has an anti-SLAAP statute. What is anti-SLAAP statutes? Well, every state has it, including Texas, surprisingly. And it's a statute that says that if somebody files a lawsuit against you strategically, just to get you to shut up, just to get you to spend money and curtail your First Amendment or abridge your First Amendment rights, you, the person that filed the suit, are going to end up paying their attorney's fees. It's strategic lawsuits against public participation. That's sort of the acronym for SLAAP, and these are anti-SLAAP statutes. So Donald Trump's going to get slapped with an anti-SLAAP statute, and he's going to end up paying CBS's substantial attorney's fees and costs in a very short-track procedure in front of Judge Kaczmarek. Now, look, I get why he hired these lawyers. One of them is Dr. Daniel Z. Epstein, a PhD who never was a litigator, who was in the Trump White House, who was in the Trump transition team, who was some sort of private equity corporate guy before he became a law professor. So he's in Florida, and Ed Palcic is some First Amendment, Second Amendment MAGA lawyer in New York, and they just said, we'll take the case, Trump, we'll file it in Texas. We have an idea. We want to get to Judge Kaczmarek. He's the only judge that really sits in Amarillo, Texas. We want to file there. Why? Because Judge Kaczmarek is a MAGA who was appointed by Trump, who used to be the deputy general counsel of a Christian anti-abortion group before he became the judge. That's the same judge that tried to do a nationwide block of the use of mifepristone by women for medicated abortions. All from whenever MAGA has a meritless phony case that they've conjured up to try to get to the Supreme Court, this is the dance they do. It's a three-step dance. First, you file in Amarillo, Texas, and you try to get Judge Kaczmarek, who's probably going to rule your way, and you know that before you've even filed. Then, if you, depending upon the appeal on the other side, that's on the losing end, they got to take it to where? The Fifth Circuit Court of Appeal, sitting in Louisiana, really right-wing. So right-wing that the majority of the appellate court was appointed by Donald Trump. They're so out there fringe and outliers that more cases come out of the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals up to the United States Supreme Court than any other circuit. Right now, 7 cases are up on the docket because of the Fifth Circuit, not because they're doing a great job, because the Supreme Court has to even rein them in. When MAGA is reigning in MAGA, you know something's wrong. So CBS gets sued. Why? What's the premise of the case? It's ridiculous. I read the suit. The first argument it is because they ran a teasing the 60 Minutes interview with Kamala Harris on Face the Nation Sunday morning for the Sunday night interview. When they ran the clip, she was responding to a question by Bill Whitaker about Israel and Hamas and all in that complicated issue. And she gave a 2-part nuanced answer. But when they teased it, in order to get you to tune in to watch the whole interview, they gave half the answer. You know, like the first part. When they showed the full 60 Minutes interview, she gave the more complete answer. Aha! Editorial violation of our political interference of voting. Like, what are you even talking about? Media has First Amendment rights to use editorial discretion when they put product and content out there. Nobody is obligated to run unedited, just hours and hours of an interview. Well, maybe C-SPAN. But other than C-SPAN, if you're looking for some entertainment value, you're going to have to do some editing. I mean, we don't edit on the MeidasTouch Network ever. These are all first take, as we can tell. First take hot takes. But, you know, in other corporate media, they got a lot of editors and film people and correction people and Q&A people and all that. And so they got to put them to work. And so they they edit. Of course they edit. Who would watch it? The show's called 60 Minutes. It's not called 1,088 minutes. You can't show everything all the time. And Donald Trump's big complaint is he made a miscalculation by not going on 60 Minutes. The first presidential candidate in over 50 years since the founding of 60 Minutes that did not join 60 Minutes with their competitor, their opponent, leading into the last month of the election. That's his problem. Oh, they tried to help Kamala Harris election interference. And I don't even understand how he gets the billions of dollars of damages. Now, look, Donald Trump knows he's going to lose this case. This is not a lawsuit. This is, as Judge Middlebrooks once called, a prior Donald Trump lawsuit before he fined Alina Habba and him over $1 million. This is a political screed masquerading as a lawsuit. But they figured, well, we'll pick the right judge on the right circuit and we'll end up maybe at the Supreme Court. I don't think so. Because Judge Kaczmarek, sitting in the jurisdiction that he's sitting, has to apply Texas law. And immediately CBS is going to do one of two things, or both. They're going to move to dismiss because there's no jurisdiction of the Texas court over CBS News for this particular matter. There's going to have to be a whole argument about general jurisdiction and specific jurisdiction. But the way the Supreme Court has recently ruled, I think it's going to be hard for the judge to keep CBS in Texas for this particular kind of case. There's also a standing problem. In order to have any entry into the courthouse, every plaintiff has to have basic fundamental standing. It means you have an injury that is unique to everybody else. What is Donald Trump's unique injury? Because there was some editing about a promo in the morning about an interview in the evening that ran in full, except it was edited. I don't get the standing issue. So if there's no standing, right? And this is a suit that has been filed strategically to infringe and abridge the First Amendment freedom of the press rights of CBS. How is this not a violation, gentlemen, lawyers, Dr. Epstein? How is this not a violation of the anti-SLAAP statute in Texas? So I think they file a motion to dismiss. It has to be heard within 60 days. There has to be a ruling within 30 days. There's a fast track appeal to the court based on that. And there's attorney's fees to be awarded to CBS for this case. So don't worry about the $10 billion number. Just worry about the millions of dollars of attorney's fees and costs, because CBS has very high priced lawyers, I'm sure, that know what they're doing in Texas, that are going to be paid by Donald Trump at the end of this case once it's dismissed. Are you looking for something simple and delicious to add to your wellness routine? Well, here's the thing. I used to put regular honey into a lot of my foods, breakfast, tea, protein. But then I was introduced to Manuka, and Manuka puts that regular honey to shame. I love the flavor, richness, creaminess, and all the health benefits Manuka honey brings to the table. The best way to use Manuka is straight from the spoon first thing in the morning, letting the creamy texture melt in your mouth and coat your throat. Manuka honey is rich, creamy, and the most delicious honey you've ever had. It's ethically produced by Manuka's master beekeepers in the remote forest of New Zealand. Manuka honey contains powerful nutrients to support immunity and gut health. The bees collect the nectar from the Manuka tea tree in New Zealand. The nectar is packed with bioactives, and the honey that is produced has 3 times more antioxidants and prebiotics than your average honey. A special antibacterial compound called MGO also comes from the nectar of the tea tree. Manuka third-party tests every single harvest for MGO and makes these results available through their QR system. It's a game changer. And all you need is 1 heaped teaspoon each morning to get the most out of the amazing bioactives in Manuka. Additional usage through the day is completely fine, especially helping to cut out other sweeteners. It's a honey with superpowers. Now it's easier than ever to try Manuka honey. Head to manukora.com/legalAF to get $25 off the starter kit, which comes with an MGO 850 plus Manuka honey jar, 5 honey travel sticks, a wooden spoon, and a guidebook. Doesn't he have anything better to do? Apparently not. By reading the complaint, I know that he doesn't. Because when I was reading it, thinking, well, let me get to the heart of it. The first 3 paragraphs must have some really interesting legal novel theories that have been developed, right? What is he saying? All right. First paragraph is that CBS has committed news distortion and interference with voters and the election, because they used their editorial discretion to put together a show so that it fit within a 60-minute package. Okay, I don't see that at all. But and they say that violates Texas law. See, they did find their way to the Texas statute book. They just missed the chapter on anti-SLAAP provisions. But they did find the one on false and misleading and deceptive acts, which is a consumer protection statute. But they're arguing later in the complaint that Donald Trump is a consumer. All right, so then I go, well, what else you got? So second and third paragraphs, is it any better? No. In the second paragraph, they then say that they try to defend Joe Biden. Poor Joe Biden. He was the subject of an unprecedented, undemocratic political coup. This is paragraph 2. Really? Donald Trump, who led an undemocratic political coup that we all watched on television on Jan 6th, is saying that because the Democrats and Joe Biden and his family made the decision not to run for re-election and that we had to have somebody run, so the vice president stepped in. It's happened before. That was an undemocratic and unprecedented coup. And who is he to defend Joe Biden for that? He put his arm around Joe Biden. So that's his first paragraph. All right, I think, well, the first paragraph's a little bit rough in terms of a start. What about the second paragraph? Oh, the concept of a word salad. That seems to be the injury or the liability here. I'm like, what word salad? Oh, that Kamala Harris can't string a sentence together. It's word salad and 60 Minutes is editing around it, and they're helping her. Do you see how this is a strategic lawsuit against public participation in a First Amendment violation of 60 Minutes? I do. They just wanted to stick it to Kamala Harris about this meme about her being, not able to string a sentence together. You know who can't string a sentence together? Donald Trump. Anybody watch the Madison Square Garden rally? That hate-filled rally? Anybody see him up at any of his rallies as people walk out the back door? They start out strong for about a minute and a half, and then they start weaving, and he starts leaving planet Earth at some point. An oxygen deprived, recitation of all of his hit list of things that he wants to do if he's ever returned to the White House. So we got the word salad paragraph in paragraph 2. And then they get to the heart of it. Oh, they used a promo in which they didn't do the complete answer and said, tune in at 60 Minutes. And because they did the promo and then they did the full answer, somehow people were manipulated. Who? Donald Trump, the consumer? I mean, and it doesn't get any better from there. So at the end, now let me just tell you from a lawyer standpoint, from a federal court practitioner, you do not have to list the amount of damages. You have to use a magic language. In order to get what's called diversity jurisdiction to bring your case to federal court when it's between two people of different states, right? Complete diversity. And the amount in controversy, the amount of damage that is alleged is in excess of just $75,000. That gives you a ticket to a federal courthouse for jurisdiction, subject to all the other things I said at the top of the hot take. You don't have to list your damages. You can probably count on half of a hand how many times I've actually listed the amount of the damages in a filed lawsuit, because I don't have to. And I don't have to be out. But they wanted to, because they wanted the headline to be what corporate media ran. Donald Trump files $1 billion lawsuit. I read that as Donald Trump is completely out of gas intellectually. His lawyers are up a tree. And now just to get grab a news cycle, he filed this lawsuit. Like he filed the failed lawsuit against the New York Times, the failed lawsuit against the Pulitzer Prize Board. He's always suing or threatening to sue somebody, some media outlet, without regard to these anti-SLAAP statutes. And I think now he gets slapped back. And if Kaczmarek doesn't do it, the Fifth Circuit should do it. And if the Fifth Circuit doesn't do it, the Supreme Court should do it. In the meantime, this is all he's got to do with 5 days left to the election. All these issues, just like his sentencing and things in his DC election interference case, are all going to happen on the other side of Tuesday. It's on the other side of Tuesday. But we got to report on it because it happened. I just think the headline should be Donald Trump subjects himself to SLAAP provisions and major $1 million attorney's fees awards. It just doesn't fit neatly into a headline. That's why I got to do a hot take here on Legal AF and on the MeidasTouch Network. I'm Michael Popok. We have a podcast Wednesdays and Saturdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We call it Legal AF, and now you know why. Okay. Tune in on our YouTube, wherever you pick up audio podcasts from. And then great news. Just in time for the election and the holiday season, we formed a new channel, pro-democracy channel here on YouTube called Legal AF. You can find it at Legal AF MTN for MeidasTouch Network. I'm the chief curator there. We're doing some amazing content, exclusive stuff over there. Free subscribe, help us build that channel so it's durable and lasting on the other side of Tuesday. So until my next hot take, before Tuesday, I'm Michael Popok, and I'm reporting. In collaboration with the MeidasTouch Network, we just launched the Legal AF YouTube channel. Help us build this pro-democracy channel where I'll be curating the top stories, the intersection of law and politics. Go to YouTube now and free subscribe at Legal AF MTN. That's at Legal AF MTN.